Hey everybody, back here taking a look at all the classes that I've drummed up that are my favorites since pretty much the game has been released. Um, Played them all pretty much at some point or another, and I was trying to put together a good list of builds for each one, and categories of them. So casters, melee, archers, and healers. So I originally started playing this game as a healer, um, and then I kind of just went to a melee class because I was getting wrecked on by them, and then started playing archers and casters. Just the game is really great because you can change your spec so much. You really don't need to make alts or have multiple accounts. You can have one character that can do it all eventually. But these are just going to be like what I think is really good. And if we have new players out there, this might be useful to them to be like, what do I play? So let's jump into it. My first caster class is the Fanatic. And so I believe this probably is the number one mage class. And you're going to find a common theme in a lot of the classes in this game, and I'm strictly speaking for like PvP. Because while there is elements of PvE to this game, to be honest, like this game is played for PvP. So that's generally like where all my classes are going to be. And a common thing for most of the classes is going to be shadow play. And it's not heavy into shadow play. It's basically to get that stealth so you can get that the drop on the enemies and a nice escape and things like that. But yeah, here with the Fanatic, you have sorcery, shadow play, malediction, and it's just got a lot of damage. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's if you've played. Would start with sorcery for your leveling, then go to I would pick up sorcery, then shadow play, then malediction, just exactly in this order. Reason being, like, you don't need to have sorcery and malediction when you're trying to level. It's 2 mana intensive. So you pick either one. You can go with either one of these, but I suggest sorcery. And you'll move these all around. You obviously can't just build like this. This is just, for instance, when you get your tree maxed out, you can go back and be like, this is how I would build my Fanatic. And I think this covers a lot of it. You can sub out like Mana Circle for something else, like, and really Rigid Tracks or Freezing Arrow. I try to get as much damage, in instant cast as you can. You can sub it out and go to something even over in the malediction that would get you your point here, but you would lose it here. So you just kind of got to go wherever you're feeling that you're doing your burst at. You can, the magic circle is great, but sometimes you don't have time to plant your feet and stay in that circle, and I totally get that. And that's mostly like your solos. When you're one-on-one fighting, you're not going to get that time to just sit there. But if you have a group of people and you're fighting another group of people, you definitely can get in there and do that. Again, you've got your mark, so this is just increasing damage, drop back, your stealth, your free runner. Pin down is just kind of to unlock this. I think it's better. You can go overwhelm or pin down here is great. Over here, you can, some people, it just depends on your group. If you have a good group of people, Grasping Void is not bad. It is a long cooldown, but teleporting, 10 eyes, 10 meters is kind of fun. But I'll switch out these two depending on what I do, but this is also how I build on my malediction side. And mana bolts are awesome, especially at like max level. I use my mana bolts more than my flame bolts, especially when I'm proccing it with my fury. So like I said, you can switch out this however you want. This just gives you some kind of idea, and that's what a lot of these specs are going to be. You might find it you play it better a certain way, and that's totally cool. That's what's great about this game, is there's so many ways to make a character unique to your play style. So let's move on from the Fanatic. Let's see here, what do we have next? The Enigmatist. Okay. So, Enigmatist is awesome because it is a lot more... it is entirely dependent on sorcery for its damage. And so you have a lot more survivability here. You're just lacking damage, basically. So this is great in those smaller comps. Jesus Christ. Let me just get more messages, please. More, please. Thank you. Okay. Let me just do this. So you have more survivability with this build. You can move this around however you want. What I did is I took Thwart so I can cast it and get my cooldowns back quicker. So I took the meditate. You can take Vicious Implosion. You can take anything you want really here. I don't really think Bracing Glass is great. Protective Wings is only PvE oriented. Health Lift, all these are kind of lame. Meditate is great for those long fights. We've definitely been in those fights where like you kind of get away for a second and then just getting a few more pumps of mana and a few more ticks can turn that fight. Shadowblade is, again, we're just trying to get that 5 so we can get that stealth. Over here, a little bit different. As you can see, there's no magic circle, and then again, this isn't going to be like your heavy burst. Searing Rain is good. You can sub it out. I'm trying to go for, you want to go for some fast cast times here. Basically, the only damage you got is over here, so you want to be quick on it. And this is how I play the Enigmatist. Over here, yeah, you could move some of this stuff around. This is just, again, a lot of your CCs, keeping your thwarts up, giving you teleport. But yeah, let's move on here to our next one. Let's go back. Did I? Yeah. Okay. Cool. DaggerSpell. Okay, so this is like right up there is at number 1 for casters, like this one and the Fanatic. So this one has more CC, the other one has more damage. So this is a little more utility, but still pumping that damage out, which is great. Now you can move this around as well. So again, we're going back to our Shadowplay, our 5 here. And when I play a DaggerSpell, you can drop. Sometimes what I'll do is sometimes I have Fiend. It's a long cooldown. It's got a cast timer. This is not great. Sometimes it's awesome. It just depends. It's gonna bring. Basically, I put it in there. I might swap it between over to here to focal. It just depends. It's kind of situational in what you're doing. Same thing with like this right here. So this is going to push uneasy backs. It's not super great on land, but this is actually quite amazing on sea. So sea battles, I have Witchcraft. I always bring Breath. I've just seen it just tear teams apart, knocking people off boats and things like that. So these 3 basically you can kind of switch out. But yeah. When I play it, I play Witchcraft heavy if it's in a tree. I love this casting category. But if I wanted to get more damage, we could bring in like Freezing Earth, or like Frigid Tracks. We could bring in another thing, Freezing Air. Like you could drop something and bring over to sorcery. Any 3 of these would do okay. It just depends. I would probably go with Freezing Earth, honestly. Just to pick up this right here. If I was gonna like move here to here, this is probably how I would play this. But again, I mostly play one of these ways here, and I can dump this off depending on how I'm gonna go about it. And this is great. It's a great tree. Again, it works really well because you have a lot of CC, you have Earth Grip, you have Fears, you have Lassitude. It's all around Banshee Whale. Like it's got really good CC, and you have really good damage just because of all the lightning, all the God's Whip stuff, which is amazing. So again, it's like right up there with number 1. I think it just brings more CC, a little more utility to the fight than the Fanatic, but it's just as good. Right here. So the Cabalist is the only class that doesn't have Shadowplay in it. So which isn't a bad thing. So some people refuse to play the stealth people. I totally get that. I totally respect that. I was one of those people. I was like, fuck those guys. They're only winning in these fights because they have stealth. And, you know, granted, it does help a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So the big thing about having something like this is you can see I have to have more points into defense, and so that's making my sorcerer tree and my witchcraft tree lack. If you look over here, you know, I'm only putting 5 in here and I'm getting 7 and 8 over here. Same thing, 5, 7 and 8, like so you're losing damage, and it's not bad. Invincibility is awesome. You know, it's nice to have that. It's a long cooldown. Lasso, I mean, everybody loves lasso. It's just fun to see lasso. Lassoing shit just to lasso shit is just awesome. Over here, you can do different things. You can take out freezing arrow, insulating lens, or searing rain. Oh no, we gotta go. I apologize, I had this built wrong. Hang on, we gotta get something out of here. The rest of it playing. There we go. There we go. That's why we would want to do it. Because you gotta have God's Whip. If you don't have God's Whip, like, there's no point. But you can, as you can see, I'm really lacking over here. Bubble Trap in this case, I would probably get rid of Bubble Trap and bring down into here. Yeah. This is probably my best. Stillness might be, yeah, it just depends. It's really hard to play this because we have these 2 extra points into defense, and basically it's because we gotta get invincibility. Without having that surprise element or that ability to like kind of disappear, you're doing a lot of self-healing, which is great. You know, but again, you're just losing damage. You're losing a little bit of utility, but this is a very viable thing. You can totally do it. It'll totally work, and it's still really good. Definitely, there's nothing wrong with this class. This is how I would run it directly. This is 875. I didn't run it for very long. I just wanted to try something else that didn't have shadow play, and this was pretty much what I came up with. All right, let's move on to. We'll cover our casters. Let's see what else we got here. This here. Oh, Darkrunner. Okay, so this is our melee. Oh, cool. So if you played this game at all, you know, Darkrunners have like, even when I've seen them be nerfed, they just like are still just amazing. So still nothing's changed. I would still play this class. This is your rogue class. If I had to like put a thing on it, it's really good. There's a lot of good melee classes out there now that weren't as good when the game first came out. There's Executioner. There's like there's Executioner. I can't think of the other one. There's another really good. There's a bunch of good melee classes, and then some other ones have kind of shifted around. But Darkrunner's always stayed up there on top, in my opinion. For new players, if you want like a melee that can disappear, and I mean, I say rogue, but they're not squishy either by any means. And what makes them not squishy is basically over here you have your Auramancy. Meditate I have in here because they are gonna run out of mana quick. But you can move stuff around. Bonebreaker is definitely like a PvP only build, so if you're doing this in PvP or PvE, you definitely don't need this. You can pick up anything else, but that's the only one I would really move around out here. Meditate, you can move around Meditate. You can pick up like, do it like this, but this is how I normally play it. And the reason you want to have over here is if you have Auramancy in your tree, it's really nice to get to this third one. Because it grants, when this procs, that invincibility for 2 seconds is huge. Like that 1% chance doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're like bursting down a shit ton of people, or you jump into a crowd and you start like tiger striking, fucking whirlwind slashing, like the chances of it getting up there and proccing is actually pretty high, and you'll see it happen more often than you think. Throwing this hammer out there is hitting a bunch of people. Everything you're doing is fucking hitting a bunch of people out there. So it can actually proc quite a bit, and it's really nice and can literally like turn a fight for you. And that's for any class that pretty much has Ordermancery. You want to get this right here. This is kind of the goal. Let's move on. Shadowblade. So still, this is bringing more CC utility than basically the Darkrunner. I think they're really good in both are really good in one-on-ones. If I had to choose one, they were like identically geared. I would say that I would probably still choose the Darkrunner. I'm more of that more of like the Ordermancer. I think this would give them the edge, but you never know. Like, it'd be hard. Just depends on like how people play their cooldowns and stuff like that. Be a super fast-paced battle. Be fun. So over here, everything's a little bit different. I'm bringing Terrifying Roar over here. You could switch it out and go to Rolling Slash or Sunder Earth. You can move a couple of these around again if you're doing PvE. Bondbreaker, your Shadow Play is the same. Witchcraft. You don't need a whole lot into Witchcraft. You can move some of these around. Like if I was going to go on a ship in battle, I would bring Breath, like I always said. Bring that bad boy out. Don't bring Bubble. You're not going to have time to get it off. Stillness isn't bad. Don't bring your Fiend. You're not going to have time to get it off. You're just going to want to get instant casts out of here. So Insidious Whispers is quick, and Earthen Grip is quick, but you're going to want to try and get like the instant cast because you're not going to have time to sit there. These are kind of like openers, really good openers. Or somebody's trying to run away, nothing like Earthen Grip in them and gripping them out and then leaping on them with your behind enemy lines or your hammer toss and stuff like that. You can, you could probably do something like this here. Probably be good. Come up here, however you want to do it. How would I want to do it? If I was solo, I would probably go here. If I was in a group, I would probably go Sunder. Or if I was like in a really big group, like this is kind of nice. But yeah, so not much different. You're just bringing the CC utility of all these like fears and silences and grabs and stuff like that. That's just the big difference between them and the Darkrunner. Blighter. So there again, these are my melees, but Blighter is a tank, and then you're like, how are we going from clearly 2 DPS to a tank? I just did like 4 melee, and these are the ones I've played. There's a lot of good ones out there. I played like Hexblade isn't as good as it used to be, but it's still viable. Like really good one-on-one or arenas, it's okay. Not out in the world. Let's give Executioners another good one. There's another one off the top of my head, and I cannot think of it for the life of me right now. It's going to come to me as soon as this is over. But these are just the melee classes I've played. So this is a tank, and you're like, wow, a tank with Shadowplay, and it's like, yep, that's a thing. And you can still put out a lot of damage. Shield Smash, Bull Rush, these are no jokes, okay? The Lasso is amazing, the Invincibility is amazing. You got Invincibility, you got Stealth, you got a Grab, you've got Bull Rush, you've got a lot of utility. And you're still bringing a decent amount of damage here. You can move some of these around if you wanted to. You can pick up something if you wanted to get crazy with it. I would go here, probably. Yeah, that's probably how I would do that. Or maybe, yeah, parry rate, kind of need that because you're going to be jumping into the middle of it. It's hard. But yeah, you could move it around however you want. This is the Blighter. Blighter's amazing. I think it's never been a bad tank class in my opinion. And it's great for PvP too. It definitely still has its uses. Let's move on. Abolisher. So this was actually like my first melee class that I played. Reason being is I switched over from like a healer. I think it was like a Templar or something where I had Ordermancery and defense. It'll probably come up in the next one when I cover healers. So over here, this one, I know I said Ordermancer, you want to kind of push to here, but if we wanted to, we could just do it this way. Boom. Retribution is cool. It's going to pump damage, but if you want to shrug it off and then have a chance at invincibility, totally could. Very, very similar. Big things here are conversion, shield, and thwart. Vicious implosion. You're keeping these up. No, obviously you're not going invisible. Everybody's going to know where you are. These are very good PvE tanks. Still good PvP. They're good for like the big raids when you're out there fighting the world bosses. They're still good. They're just good at everything too. I mean, I wouldn't like choose this class, and I wouldn't choose like a class for like an arena like team or anything like that, or even like one-on-ones. It would probably work for a certain like amount of time, and then eventually you just wouldn't have the damage. But this is the Abolisher. Still a lot of fun. You have your invincibility. You're just going to be lassoing people and just sitting on top of them, trying to, you know, not let them move. You have your teleport, which is cool, giving you a little bit of getaway or catch up mechanics, however you want to do it. And same thing, you could switch this out. You could get more here by going here. You can move it however you want around. But this is pretty much how I play the Abolisher. Alright, let's move on. What do we got next? Nope. There's our... let's do... Looks like we got over here. Let's bring this over. Oh, cool. Healers. Perfect. Alright, cool. So the healer... this is like my utility healer. Vitalism, in my opinion, is the best healing tree. Revive isn't something that's necessary. It's something that I will bring, but you can switch it out for like mana shield, mana barrier. It just depends. Depends on your group. You're gonna learn how to play it. If I was gonna do arenas and stuff like that, mana barrier. If I was gonna do like small team battles, probably mana barrier. If I'm going out with like a bigger group, revive. When healing, you're not doing damage, so you don't need to worry about this. So we're just basically we're getting meditate so we can stay in the fight, because you're in the back lines. Fuel shouldn't be getting to you. If you've got things like Blighters and Abolishers and melee in there, they're going to be leaping on them, jumping on them. You can be using your teleport to get away, your thwart to stay alive, all of these if you do get jumped on. But otherwise, your guys should be lassoing them off of you. And you have the Witchcraft tree, which is awesome. So you can actually bring the Bubble Trap here, which is the coolest fucking spell in the game. Nothing like watching a dude like float up in a giant fucking bubble. It's fucking amazing. And it's 9 seconds or something crazy. It's stupid. I do bring Breath here, whether I'm on land or on sea, because again, there's that pushback, so in case anybody does get near you, we're pushing them away. If you wanted to get rid of it, I'd probably bring it over here and put it on Shrug It Off. Do something like that, but then you lose your 30% cooldown, so it's like, what do I want to do? I guess it depends on your team, but this is... I can't even say that. Yeah, that's it. Nailed it. Okay, let's move on. Next healer. Cleric. Okay, so Cleric was actually the very first healer class I played, because I was like, well, these all seem like healing classes when the game first came out. I was like, this is awesome. This is going to be so good. And it wasn't. When the game first came out, like, healers got shit on. Right now, healers are like unstoppable, bloodthirsty maniacs, because they can't be killed with higher gear until you get like insane high gear. But again, there's Vitalism. Again, the revive still stands from the last one. You can move it around for mana barrier, just depending on your situation. You gotta have meditate in here. And then Songcraft. Songcraft is going to give you double time, quick step. It's going to give you a little bit more healing. And your utility. I do like the stun here, because it is kind of like your only CC. This is kind of what is awesome. So, but yeah, this one is pretty self-explanatory. If you're gonna like jump in, like, I mean, you shouldn't be jumping in on anybody if the healer, but you know, I mean, like, you'd have to drop something like this. But you know, again, like, this is just straight up healing from a little bit of survivability. Yeah. It's all around. I wouldn't say it's the best healing class out there. I think it's really good PvE wise. You can move some of the stuff and get like protective wings for like the raids and things like that for PvE. But otherwise, it's all around good. It's good for on the move. Yeah, it's got AoE heals. It's got direct heals. It's got buffs. It's got everything. Next one, we got Templar. Cool. Templar was really fun because you have your like tanky, and you can actually do some damage out there. So here I did not bring Meditate. Now you can switch out Comic Boom for Meditate. With a Templar, I actually like being out there and like fighting a little bit. And you can move stuff around. You can even like come up with like a shield bash or however you want to do it. Basically, we want to still focus on our vitalism tree. I do bring a little bit more heavy into it this time because like you could get rid of revive and do it this way. Just it's up to you. Like this isn't bad either. You could like teleport and you can still be a frontline fighter with this because you're wearing plate. And actually, where all your healers, you're wearing plate nowadays. So don't be afraid to wear your plate. But yeah, you could drop stuff and pick up Meditate. Meditate is really good. But Comic Boom is really good. It's not so much damage. It's helping with a Templar. You're up there fighting. It's giving you that little bit of speed burst to either get away or close the gap on people. But yeah. And I think the next one is also, Tombwarden. Cool. So, like other end of Templar, Tombwarden is something I played. I don't even know if this is good. I'm like looking at it and thinking about it now. Maybe I shouldn't have put this one in here. Maybe I should come up with another healer, but I can't think of another healer off the top of my head that I played. I hate Spell Dancer. Songcraft. Yeah, Songcraft had got kind of like a big nerf without like its tune when they got rid of that. This is still viable probably. I would say this is probably probably doing a little bit of damage here too because you have your stun, you have your vicious implosion. This is how when I was building this the other day, I see where I was going with it. You're still just bringing utility. I would probably drop. We need double time. We could probably drop double time and pick up like over here, Sonic Wave or something to help out your team more. But Deadly Refrain maybe. Probably. If you find yourself playing this build, or if you accidentally made this, I would probably go to something else. I don't think the Tombwarden is what it used to be. Back in the day, Songcraft was like the strongest healing thing because it shot out these tunes that bounced around and healed everybody, and it was really overpowering. Nowadays, they're just more of like a Bardy or a buff, which is good. You got survivability over here. Obviously, you got your invincibility, and you have Ornamency, Immersion Shield. Yeah, Shrug It Off. You can drop Shrug It Off, pick up Comic Boom. I don't think you're gonna do much here. Wish I knew a better healer. I would say my top healers are Cleric and probably Templar. This is my number one. Hierophant, Templar, Cleric, and then maybe two more. And I'd probably come up with something else. I'd probably figure out how to use Spell Dance, even though I think it sucks. But yeah, wish I'm gonna put this in the video, but wish I had better insight to it. Let's move on. Let's see. We've done casters. We've done melee. Healers. Let's go cover what I'm gonna play. Is right over here. I'm gonna play an archer. So a little forewarning into the archery classes. Awesome at grinding. Awesome at just murdering shit down and leveling. Awesome early game when people aren't as geared or everybody's around the same gear level. It's still good. People get up there in those higher gear scores, you fall off a little bit. But in the end, when you're maxed out, I still think archers hold the best. They're just so fast-paced. They put a lot of pressure, and a lot of people fold under pressure. And I think that is what archers bring to it, because when you just have a fuck ton of bullets or arrows coming at you, it just fucks up everybody's world. So my number one class, and this is the class I'll be playing again for this Fresh Start server, is the Primeval. Primeval's super straightforward. You've got your Shadowblade, and so you could actually see I actually have 6 into here, which is rare for Shadowblade. Usually it's just the 5, but I have Overwhelm. And I like this because as soon as you start unloading on people from a distance with an archer, they start to back up, or they might try to run away. So having a teleport and an overwhelm fucks their world up. Being immune to CCs is great. Again, people are gonna start freaking out. Having Comic Bloom is great. You can drop this. I mean, your auto attack alone is the big thing for all archers, because your weapon is the most important thing. You should be putting all your resources into your weapon. Fuck the gear, get the weapon. You don't need really, I mean, armor, obviously stats and things like that, and gems, you need those, but fucking unloading that weapon. You could do things like steady shooting, but honestly, if I'm on the move, if I'm playing one-on-one or in small teams, this is exactly how I'm building it. Snipe, it's ridiculously long range, but I think it's fucking stupid. If I see somebody from a range, I'm gonna stealth up, or if I'm gonna engage with somebody, I can get close, I can stealth up with my boys and go fuck them up. It is very good. Overall, it's really great. Concussion Arrow is probably the hardest thing to land, but it is great when you can pop that off on like a caster. That silence is so fucking amazing, because it's pretty much death for them. They're going to try and go invisible, they're going to try and blink away, they're going to try and do anything they can if you hit them with this concussive arrow. It's annoying as a caster to get caught in it, but yeah, like it's great. You got your poison, you got your mark, you got everything. You're gonna fuck people up with the Primeval, and that's the number one archer class for me. I think it's been the number one archer class in my opinion. People will argue, they can say Ebonsong is number one now. They can say Ebonsong was better, back in Unchained released. I don't think it was. Go fuck yourselves. I think Primeval at the end of the day would destroy it in a one-on-one battle, maxed out gear, maxed out level, maxed out everything, identical. Gonna fuck your world up. Let's move on. Stone Arrow. Stone Arrow is also really cool. This is great for survivability. So the difference in these is Ordermancer, you're switching out for defense. Defense is giving you a lot of self-healing because of the metal. How do you say that? Where's the word at? Yeah, it's in here. What the fuck is it? mettle, when you're building that up, that's a nice, if you can get that built up, it's a huge chunk of health back to you. Invincibility is great. This is a good choice. You can bring back to people with your lasso. And you're just down to your number 5s here, pretty much keeping your build over here the same. You can move stuff around if you want, but this is how I would build my Stone Arrow. A little more servability and self-healing. I don't think it has as much utility over here. Ordermancer, if I had to choose between the two, like just going back, Thwart is amazing. Teleporting, I'd rather have a teleport than a lasso, in my opinion. I would say just lasso's great if you have people there, but sometimes you want to get away from people, and that's where I think those two are the big differences, is having a teleport, and that's why Stone Arrow is right up there. It's probably my there we go. Okay, Stone Arrow is probably my second choice. I think it's the second best. I don't know. You have Ebonsong here. Ebonsong is pretty awesome. It is good. It is not as good as Primeval. I have still one more point to spend here because you can kind of play this any way you want. You have your buffs, you have your quick stepping, you have your double time. You can, if you want to drop a heal down, you can. Critical chord, we do not need. Why is that in there? So I would drop a stun. That's how I wanted it. Okay, cool. So with this one, you can drop into a leech. Leech wouldn't be bad here. Overwhelm. You could go into a heal, healing him if you wanted to like fight inside of. Yeah, any of these would really work. It's adding a little bit of a buff to your group, a little bit of a heal, a little bit of a buff can really turn a battle. This is pretty good for a large group. If you're an archer in a large group of people, or if you have like a 5-man team. If you are just solo, I don't think it's as good as the other previous two, but this is good. More utility for the big group playing. And it's not a bad class. Again, you'll get out there, you'll see a lot of these. It's very popular, and I think that's because people can heal themselves. Maybe I don't know why it's super popular. Like I don't see anything wrong with it. I just feel like when I'm not always in a group, or if I am in a group, it's a small group, and so I would rather have the utility or the survivability of this one over the Ebonsong. Yeah. Let's go on to our last one. Trickster. Trickster's interesting because you're casting and then shooting, and you bring in CC in on top of it. So it's hard to pull off. I think this is the hardest of the four classes I have here for Archer, and probably the hardest Archer class. And it's not bad. Where I would play this, I'd play this in naval combat. Again, like I said, witchcraft is great for having the breath here. When you get close in galleon combat, it's always nice to have. Or any ship to ship, you have some ships pulling up on your ship. You can push people off of it. The CC Earth Grip is great. Having an Earth Grip and being able to lock somebody down with that and then just fucking unload onto them with your archer abilities and markup and all that shit is fucking amazing. Obviously, having fears and things like that is never a bad thing. You can't go wrong with that when somebody jumps on you and having a fear there. But again, I think it's the hardest of these four to play, and I think people that main this are always really fucking good, and I'm always leery of getting in a fight with them if I can see them first, or if I can line up and tee off on them first, sure. And I think that's a big play for all archers, is picking your battles. If somebody starts lining up on me, if a melee jumps on me first, I'm in like defense mode. I'm in get the fuck away mechanic. I'm gonna, blink, do however I can get away, go and viz, double space bar, get my glider out, fly the fuck away, do whatever I can as an archer to get away, and then to reset that combat. Pop my health pots, pop my whatever I got, invincibility, however I can do it to reset the battle. And I think that's actually not bad for witchcraft either. Now I think about it on land, because you can push people back. But being an archer is almost being more roguey than like a Darkrunner rogue class or something. You can you have to really pick your battles as an archer. That being said, hopefully you guys found these helpful. I'll have timestamps down below in the thing, kind of going over them. If you guys have questions, if you have comments, if you have a class that wasn't in here, it doesn't mean I haven't played it. These are just like my main ones that I have played in the past. I know it seems like a lot of different classes, but for veteran players, this really isn't that many. When you get down to it and grinding it, you can really grind out a lot of different characters pretty quick. Recapping, archers, leather. Let's go over armor. Yeah, archers, leather. Casters, we want to go leather. I know that it's weird. You might think cloth, but no, you want to go leather. If you're going healer, you want to go plate. And if you're melee, you want to go either plate or leather, just depending on which class you want. But obviously tanks are plate. Your other classes are leather. A lot of things, if you're a DPS class in this game, you're going leather. And that's going to be really confusing for a lot of new players out there, because they're going to get in there and they're going to be like, I'm getting my first Hiram gear, and I'm a caster, so obviously I've played MMOs before, and I'm gonna pick cloth. You're fucking yourself up. And same thing with healer. Healers are gonna be like, I need to get cloth, and then like you'll get towards the end and you'll be like, why am I getting fucking destroyed? And it's like, yeah, man, you gotta take plate. You gotta take plate to survive. So keep that in mind, guys. Trying to think of anything else I need to recap before I end this video. Yeah, no, I think that covers all of it. Covered the armor situation, covered a bunch of classes. If you guys have questions about a certain class, drop them in the comments below. I'll try to send you a comment back with like a link. I played a lot of classes out there. I know it's really hard to find information on this game because a lot of it's been around for so long that the internet's just like flooded with stuff from this game since like 2013. So it's like, what is good, what isn't, and you're gonna have to play with it and figure it out once you're in the game, guys. Yeah, anyways, hope you guys have a good night. Take it easy.